Austin, Texas, day 4 at South by Southwest 2016. Hope you are doing well. We are doing well. It's coming tough, right? Tougher and tougher, because I can tell you there's so much to see and to do here. And we have also today a full-packed program, so that starts to introduce our guests here. BB8 is still here, and our other special guest is Ina Schieferdecker, the expert for IoT, smart cities, and whatever. We will talk about ethics and IoT. Ina is coming from Fraunhofer Institute Berlin and is also president of an association called ASQF. That's the association behind everything we are doing here, also this HIGHFIVE initiative. And one company, ASQF and ISQI, supporting to come to South by Southwest is Datarella, and founder CEO Jörg Blumtritt is also here. Nice to have you here. We will talk about your idea, your product, and how it was so far here at the South by Southwest, and what you are expecting for the future. But first of all, let us go a little bit back. What was happened yesterday here at the South by. When I was entering the trade show, the convention center, there was a huge queue of people, thousands of people, and I was asking what you were waiting for. I mean, I remember in the former GDR when they were waiting for something, you know, bananas, but it was not bananas, it was J.J. Abrams was there. J.J. Abrams, you know, director, producer, Star Wars, Star Trek, so everyone was excited. Anyhow, Star Wars is playing a big role here at the Interactive, because I guess it is a mixture of what they are talking about, virtual reality, new technology in movie making. That is the let's say overlap of interactive IT and music and movie and everything. So that's why maybe we can take it as a good example. Then we went yesterday to the German house again. There were Tech Day, and some companies were pitching there. Interesting companies we saw, and Cody can tell you a little bit more about what were the most impressive companies there. So I can remember there was one guy who finally got the award. It was Tankthaler, nice name. What is Tankthaler about?
Tankthaler is about an app you can connect with your car, and this app is collecting data like the performance of the car, the driving behavior, for example, and you have the possibility to collect bonus points. And I think he promised to give every attendant from yesterday 5,000 starting points for Tankthaler.
Good we were here. multiply 5, because with 5 people we got it already. Yeah, that is amazing. But the good thing was that he said for the users it's for free.
Yeah. The
service. That was quite impressive. Yeah, he has a totally different model than all the others before. He was one who got the award, and then there was a lady I found very interesting, was Talents Connect.
Yeah.
I immediately asked you to invite her, that she's coming and telling us more, and she will be here tomorrow morning, right?
Yes.
Talents Connect, what is that about?
Talents Connect is about a new way to apply for a job. So it's an app, and you have the possibility to create your own profile. It's like a Facebook profile, I think, and there you find the job which fits to you the best. And you have the possibility to send your application via the smartphone,
okay,
which is a very new, innovative way. And Eileen was presenting it. Eileen is the head of business development at Talents Connect, and I think she will tell us more about that tomorrow.
Yeah.
During Breakfast TV, but it sounds very interesting. So
we have also tomorrow a full-pack program. Then we have 2 other startups here tomorrow at 9 o'clock. It is Smoop and another company. Smoop is the company we are also supporting to come here, and then we have the company Nate. Sorry, Nate is the company we already talked about. That is the let's say technology for your handheld, where you can donate to non-for-profit associations. And the guy also said that he will come and explain a bit more. So a lot of excited products there. I went again to the exhibition. Everything is it's too much of everything, I would say. But I try to find out what is the product of the day. And the product of the day, I can tell you, it's something everyone is talking here. 360 is the number of the South by, I would say. And if you cannot see what I see, yeah, but we have prepared a photo I did this morning, and our enabler Nikolai will show you now, and you can see a 360-degree picture we did this morning. You can try it if you want. it's amazing what they are doing with such simple devices. So everything it's ready for consumer and for buy and use it. It comes from Japan, I guess. You tried it? Yeah, the good product. Yeah. So
it's a test.
It's a test. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So and now you wonder how this is the device. That's the camera. I will make a picture and we can put it then on the website so you can see it then what I'm talking about. So you just put it there and then you press the button and then you have some pictures and we will put it on the website and then you can see not only us here but you can also see all the guys behind the scene here. So that is a nice feature, I think, and also possible to make movies with that. I guess not only for private users but also for architecture and everything. Architects, it could be a useful gimmick. So there's someone saying goodbye at the door. Sorry for interrupting the show. So did we get the picture? Everyone saw it? Yes. Okay. If you would like to know more about this or about the talents we saw yesterday, you can, as always, drop us a note. HIGHFIVE_ASQI. Please send us your comments and your questions. Also the questions to Ina or to Jörg. If you would like to more about or would like to comment what we are talking about, would be perfect if you join. I know it's quite late in Singapore, where my friends from the ISTQB are, and in Germany it's coffee break time. You would say hello to our guys in Singapore? Yeah, I'll say hello.
Have a good meeting there.
Yes, have fun, guys, as we have here. Yes, we will talk about that also later. Yes. Data is the topic, our first topic, and when I talked to Jörg before and I asked him what is it about, in one sentence you said it's data science as a service.
Yeah.
And then I was wondering, okay, now I'm not knowing really more about what it is, because data as a service is already difficult, yeah. But data science as a service, you need to explain. So what do you mean by data as a service and data science as a service?
Well, data science, you could say is the science of big data also, is emerging like computer science has emerged in the 1970s. You know, we had computer science as something new. There was electrical engineering, there was mathematics, and communication science, and the computer became such an important thing that it made sense to have an integrated view on everything regarding the computer, and that was computer science. And now we have the same that starts with data. So what we do is we build the architecture for companies that makes them or enables them to use their data in the way that we can now. So that starts with where the data is generated. New ways of data generation is especially the IoT, so sensor data that continuously measures things. On top of that comes external data, for example, web data, official governmental statistics, all kinds of data that you can get to enrich that. You have to put that somewhere. Storage is cheap now, we have the cloud, many cloud services offer good storage, but you have to define a scalable storage architecture. And for many of our clients, I think something like 1 to 10 terabytes of data per day is not the exception. So you really have to think, if you go into sensor data, where to put it. Because then comes the interesting thing that is new. You won't no longer transform the data before you upload it in some database. You would just let it sit on your storage unchanged. So you would always get the full information that was there from the beginning. And that all stack, and we are not speaking about analytics or something like that yet.
That would be my question, because that is the main challenge. How to use the data. It's about the quality of data. It is about data analytics, because that's the main topic.
People always tell. I tell you that in all projects that I've seen, 95% of the work went in these first steps: storage, data retrieval, defining database architectures, and then to some extent data pre-processing. And then comes, well, the analytics, and I would say that's sort of, there's so many brilliant tools. We have new development environments like Spark, Apache Spark. We have Python that you could say is like basic, was in the 80s. So Python really enables everyone to program really advanced analytics applications. And then on top of that, that's usually then JavaScript for visualization and what you might call the dashboard or whatever.
But when everything is solved, while we are talking about data analytics and data quality and all these kind of topics, because everyone is coming to us, and it's one of on our conferences. And if you look also on the Gartner hype cycle, what is the main topic? It is big data, but it's also data analytics and the quality of data. So
I would even start before. I believe that the question is still open if all the plain data should be stored and uploaded somewhere, because that's of course very cost intensive. If you see the energy consumption of all the computing centers we do have already, that is way too high, and also the communication networks are by far not in the capacity to upload the terabytes. Or we calculated, for example, if you would consider a base station, LTE base station in Berlin, just 5 mid-sized car would ruin the whole base station, because it's just over capacity if they would upload all their data that they produce, which is just only 300 megabit per second.
Five are enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can
along
easily,
that, of course, you need to reconsider. So, what makes sense to be stored?
Yeah, exactly. But this is what I mean. You have to define a meaningful infrastructure, and the architecture decisions are, let's say, they're far-reaching, because you can't easily change afterwards. Look at all these companies that invested so heavily in their data warehouse infrastructure and data mining in the 90s. In the 90s, storage was still an issue, so you would have the ETL, you would upload the data and transform it and lose most of the information. And the restriction is especially that you had to define in advance all the variables in your tables. So anyone who has dealt with that knows. I mean, try to change the architecture of SAP databases or so. That's usually a change request and then 6 months of development. And busloads of consultants that you have to employ to get that done. And still, I mean, it has become more flexible, but still these decisions, so for example, what to discard and what to keep, you can't easily change afterwards. So it's really, I can fully support that. It's really important to know what you are doing, and for example, sensory data. So what we tried with smartphone sensors, with car sensors also, that could be something like 250 or 500 megabytes per user per day, easily. And so I fully agree, there's 5 cars and you are done. So you have to find some way to aggregate that without, and the interesting task is now to define a way to aggregate it so you won't lose too much. It's signal processing basically. So you try to find the signals and filter out all the redundancy. It's classic signal theory actually. That you have to use for
Could you give to our viewers outside an example about what is the typical company or let's say a client you're looking for, and how could your application or your idea improve what they are currently doing?
I mean, from my background, our first tier of clients were television companies. So I have a background in television, and so we transition the analytics backbone for television companies or suppliers for television companies. For example, the viewer viewers, they now often don't use their television set anymore, so there's subscriber services like Sky in Germany, so they have more than 50% of their viewers now on mobile devices. On a mobile device, you navigate differently through your program. What the companies need is an understanding of how people do that to recommend the program, to give a good user experience. I mean, you see the program guides is actually it's the main. It's the success factor number one for television program. Actually, it's more important than the content as such. And this is what we build. So we help them collect the data and we build these recommendation and search engines for programs. That's one. Second is we have quite a bunch of small and mid-sized companies that usually have some kind of web services or website that they're running. They might have SEO, social media, and all kinds of communication. What we do is support them in collecting and keeping the data in a way that they can then build model up on that. So that could be, for example, again, recommendation engines, predicting conversion rates, optimizing pricing. Of course, we are not an expert in any analytics aspect of these, but together with someone who is, we could then build these models, and the thing is, self-adjusting models like that can be really making a difference. For example, we have one client is classified ads.
Yeah.
So classified ads, usually the customers who book these, they are not very savvy. They want just to get their stuff sold. They want just to, or they want job applicants for their jobs and so on. And it's key for them to understand what's the success factors for their classifieds, and also to see how they can influence the conversion rate, and also to manage their expectations with, for example, a prediction. Well, that combination of, I don't know, title of your ad and the location you try to sell it against might not work at all. And then suggest, for example, a media package that would support these ads, and say, well, if you book then additional, I don't know, search volume or so, you can then, we can guarantee you at least meaningful inquiries or something like that.
Okay, so far before we talk about your success on South by, if you have any questions or comments to Jörg on this topic, you can write us on HIGHFIVE_ISQI. And sorry for some noise here, I do not know what's going on outside there. And if you could do anything. There's a guy who's cleaning the streets here, so that is something they are doing usually. Maybe some of us can ask him not to do it in our house. Guy, could you ask to stop it here in front of our house, and then he can come later on, so in 20 minutes or something. So sorry for that. So now we invited you to come to the South by, and
Yes.
and we were full of hopes and expectations. So what is the result after these 4 days for you? Did you meet the right people here, or what is your impression? Was it the right place to be for you?
I mean, I knew that in advance, frankly, because I was here before. I know the quality
How
of the...
How often you attended the South by so far?
It's my second South by.
Okay.
Thanks. I want to show you something later, so
Okay.
bring me back. No, South by, so there's two aspects. The conference as such, I'm not too fond actually, so it's, most of the panels, is not really my kind of discussions or so, some are actually. But, what makes it valuable is that you meet people here, and more than you can actually squeeze into these 4 days or so, that would be near impossible to meet in years of travel.
Yeah.
Because all are here. And I mean, my schedule is fully booked with appointments that I have, and even people that I usually, I mean, I wouldn't dare actually to try to contact, because who am I? And so, these majestic people, you know, that you wanted always to meet. And it's easy to do that here.
Here everyone is equal.
Yeah, more or less. I mean,
there are some people are more equal than the others.
I hardly know any place where that works so well.
Yeah. And also sometimes everyone is telling me from our other guests that sometimes you are surprised whom to talking at the bar or in the coffee break or smoking a cigarette, and then you hear about his background, and then
Yes.
wow, last year I attended a house here, and there was one of the chief developers of Facebook coming.
Exactly like that. Absolutely.
These kind of people. I do not know where else to meet them. Is there any in comparison in Germany? Because some people ask us why we are not doing such in Germany.
Yeah, I think we should. I think we should have. I mean, I think there's one conference that has some kind of resemblance in that aspect. That's Republika. I was at Republika from the start.
As regards to my friend Markus Beckedahl,
Yeah.
you know, yes. Okay.
Hi, Markus. No, I find that really amazing what Markus has done.
Now we have
and
all the
also-
secret services on our listening to us.
Yeah, and also Johnny. I mean,
Yeah.
that's really amazing.
Republika something has happened in Berlin and in Potsdam, and also supported by a lot of associations. And yes, we know that that these are very smart people there. It's becoming bigger and bigger. I guess more than thousands of people coming there and discussing it. No, I mean why we are targeting startups and going for that to US. That was the question. Are we not able to, let's say, creating such a platform of interchange and interaction and networking? Also maybe in Berlin. I mean, you are coming from Munich, forgive me, but maybe Berlin is more the right place to do such. But
I don't know. I mean, in the field that I touch at least, I would say Munich and Stuttgart also are maybe even more important, because there is all these companies like, say, Bosch, Siemens, and all the surroundings we have now, all the biotech cluster that we have in Munich or so. And I mean, Berlin is great for e-commerce as far as I can see that, and classic web or mobile applications, but that's not really the client we are focusing on.
We got a question in from outside.
Yes, we have a question on Twitter from Patty, and he's asking if social media monitoring is a tool for mid-sized companies.
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely. I can only recommend to do social media monitoring and do it not via a packaged service, but start that yourself if you can do it in any way. That it's always worthwhile. So I can strongly recommend that.
I would now have expected that you say Datarella is a service provider to do that.
No. We have to focus. So we have our products, and our product is not social media monitoring. I mean, 10 years ago.
But your so to say expectation was data science as a service. It could be anything then.
Well, and that's right. So because the stack is always the same. So you have the same paradigms in storage, processing, and I agree. I mean, data quality is important, and data quality assurance, which is something new that was not there, I would say, 10 years ago. You don't need that if you have a structured data warehouse, because the data is always consistent. Yeah,
well, there are big issues around that topic.
I know.
It's about data clearance and things like that, which is, however, I think different to the data quality we are now talking
exactly.
about.
It's a really different task. For example, to keep your, I don't know, address database consistent or so. I mean, there is issues, but it's more or less solved. We can define a process to run that, and you would have your CRM people dealing with that. And now we are dealing with technically generated data often. So it's, for example, it's data about people, like for example behavioral data that is measured via sensors, or pictures in social media sites like Instagram, or whatever data that's hardly structured, and you usually don't understand in advance the technical generation process. So for example, take social media data, you don't really know what the API of the social media services delivers to you. It's usually not very well documented and might change without further notice. So take Twitter, for example, they often change their API from just overnight. And suddenly the results changed. So, and or take, so we experimented with all kind of, as I said, smartphone sensor data. And the way the operation systems, as iOS and Android, deal with the data is so totally different from one system to the other. And it's also interesting to see the differences in the hardware. I mean, you don't know which chips are built into the smartphones. And then you see how the data looks, and you see all these strange artifacts. I don't know, acceleration events, for example, in the gyroscope, where you have the angular momentum measured, and suddenly there's spikes. You say, that can't be real. You couldn't accelerate a phone to I don't know, 10G in less than a second or something.
Brings us always to our next topic. I need to have. Do not want to interrupt you, but I need to have a look on our time here. It's a very interesting topic and very interesting. You said that you are wanted to show us something.
Yeah. Just I mean, speaking of sensor data, and that's actually where the music goes. I would say it's really hardware. And so last year at South by we conceived here a platform because I mean IoT was really catching up last year already, and you see all these things that are black boxes. No one can really access what's going on in there, and so we thought, why not build a platform where you could just understand and try out things with sensory data. And well, a year later, and a crowdfunding campaign that we ran later, we now have our Baiduino. It's compatible to the Arduino and also to the BBC Microbit. It's a microcontroller. You have all sensors that you need built on, like the gyroscope, linear acceleration, magnetic flux. There's photo sensors, and you have a small display, 8x8 LEDs. You have buttons to interact with that, and you can just experiment with that without having to solder. And I mean, I'm a mathematician, I don't know how to solder. I'm not very good at doing things like that. I have ruined many boards before I even had accomplished anything, and I wanted to change that. And now there it is, with colleagues from Fraunhofer St. Augustine, we will develop an Open Roberta programming interface for that, so you can just drag and drop the without really knowing how to code, and really learn what sensors do, what the IoT is actually. I mean, it's about data that is generated by stuff. You know, that, and you can access that. And one the funny thing is that this is really an outcome of last year's South by, and now we are ready to show it here.
Did you
Perfect.
consider how to adjust those sensors, to calibrate them, how to know if it's a reliable sensor? There's quite some uncertainty around it.
That's right. So of course we test these in advance. So first, it's completely sourced in more or less in Bavaria. Some components are from Austria and some from Baden-Württemberg, but and it's built and manufactured entirely in Bavaria. So it's kind of a slow food hardware, you know, sourced locally, all ethical work and so on. And so we have a chance in understanding how the sensors work. Our hardware developer, Hans Franke, he's just a great guy. He's really into testing. So I mean, he's an electrical engineer from he used to work for this.
But before we are starting into the testing discussion with one of the most main experts here in testing, we are totally run out of time. So thank you very much, Jörg, for that quite impressive introduction here about the topic. I wasn't really sure to understand everything, but I guess it is clear. If you would like to get in contact with HIGHFIVE_ASQI, then you can drop us a note, or you should search for Datarella. Yes, I'm pretty sure that it was not our last meeting we have. Maybe we will get an invitation on some of our conferences, or also the so-called special interest group meetings of our association. We are very much present in Bavaria as well. So yeah, please follow our invitation and stay tuned.
Sure, I will, and thanks again for having me here. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, cross fingers for you and for your company and for your idea. Yeah.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Then thanks for coming. And yes, it was the next topic was shortly touched. So I was not sure how to come to the next topic, but it was already mentioned that we are talking about IoT and we are talking about ethics in IoT. And yes, Ina, we both started to discuss this topic 2 years ago, I can remember. And then you said to me, Stefan, maybe with these questions you are too far away already, let us going forward. But then would like to tell you a story where I come from. We are currently building a house, and then we are also, let's say, designing our kitchen, and then we got an offer, you could have a fully Wi-Fi connected refrigerator. And I said, no, I don't want to have such. My wife said, why not? Maybe we can use it in the future. I said, for what? We could use it. And I do not know who else is using the data from my fridge. Yes, and then I was thinking about for whom all the data we are collecting there in my fridge they could use. For example, my health insurance could see that I eat too much steaks. By the way, we had tremendous good steaks here in Texas, but that there's too much alcohol, too less salad in my fridge every time, and they have a huge interest on such kind of data, and that's why I said to Katja, no, let's not buy such a fridge, and she said, no, let's change that what we are eating and not discussing the IoT stuff. But, so that's the whole discussion is coming. So the topic is now there. It's not just an abstract, let's say, discussion on a lot of newspapers or conferences. It's currently there. And when I came to my last example, maybe and then if we start maybe with the question on it, it was the example was already taken, that is the automated car driving. You know, when you the Spiegel, the German magazine, wrote a long story about this. And can you imagine that you are driving in this self-driving automated car, and then in front of you you see a group of kids, and on the left side you see an old lady crossing the street, and on the right side there are only trees. And now the software of this car has to decide what is to do. It's too late for stopping, so you need to the car has to go in one direction. So if you're going to the left side, maybe the old lady get killed. If it go in front, then the kids get killed. And if it's going to the right side, then we are going in front of these maybe the trees. The drivers get killed. So. And then I asked the question myself, do I really want to drive or sit in a car? Probably is killing myself. And then the whole that makes very clear what the whole topic is about. It's about ethics, how far we can go, and are there any, let's say, rules or principles for our domain we should discuss. And yeah, that is my first question. Before we come to the question why IoT is not faster accepted in the community, but maybe there is a connection. Ina is an expert in IoT. She's very much speaking in favor for these kind of solutions. But what is about this question? Is it also a topic you are currently discussing after these 2 years?
Thank you for this hard, tough question.
It's
one
breakfast,
for breakfast.
It's a breakfast TV. It's a breakfast TV that we're discussing since the morning.
Still, I think you touched upon different aspects. One is about privacy and data security.
Yeah.
That has been the first, and the other is how about value systems that we have, and how do we, so to say, develop those systems which do autonomous
But is not a question
for us.
over all of that?
Well, it's just different aspects. So
Yeah, okay.
just with that, I wanted to start. Yes, I'm very much in favor of data-driven innovation. I'm so to say part of the movement towards open data or towards data in the public interest. This is, maybe we come to that later. Now to the last question on autonomous driving. My bit on that is, or my take on that is, that I think we need some arbitration about it. So there can't be, in my view, any deterministic rule, because you hardly can say one is more important than the other. So,
but how to solve it?
well, we just toss a coin.
Or not driving such a car?
Of course, I mean, already today your car can sort of
Kill myself.
kill you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Or it can kill kids or old ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah, no question. And it's only the continuation of what we are
But
doing already.
the fear was that there is an algorithm behind the software where it is already said what is the priority, the kids, the driver, or the old lady.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay,
But
we got a message that we should speak a little bit louder, especially you, I guess, because my voice is. Yeah. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I try to. My voice is not that strong. Anyway, I think it needs to be a random choice. And I guess I'm not the only one, but there could be others which say kids are more important, or the driver is least important because he brings the people into this dangerous situation. Let's just toss a coin.
Okay.
I see.
But
and that's of course an algorithm. But if you take an arbitrary value to sort of say do this randomization, then this is really random.
yeah, but this example is touching the overall question. I read another number here in the newspaper in the US that the majority of the US people thinking or believing, strongly believing, that within the next 50 years, almost all of our environment is taken care by, or jobs are done by robotics. You know, this is get automated. So, but if we hand over so many decisions and our, let's say, so many of our principles, our, let's say, society is living on, based on these ethical principles, hand over to software-driven systems. Is it not necessary to discuss these principal questions before?
Well, for sure. We do need some discourse in the society about the value and the use of data.
Yeah.
And about the things that we want to be done autonomously. But at the end, it's about improving this, or increasing the safety and security in life and work, and to improve simply our life conditions. For example, the autonomous car also stops in front of a kid.
Yeah.
If it's, so to say, easy to stop. It can do already today better than you do as a driver.
Yeah.
So this is definitely something good, and we need to have a lot more intense discussion about how far we go. Right? It's just technology, and we need to design the technology.
Is this discussion happened or
No.
So, but why not? Everyone is talking about the solutions already. If you see they are coming already with the technical solutions, and they are celebrating themselves, or how far they can go, what they are able to develop, without thinking, without a let's say public discussion about this topic.
I wouldn't say without thinking, but I would say it's like Wild West as of today, because the regulation is not that advanced, and politicians take more time.
Yeah.
They need to rethink, and maybe we really put our voice forward, ethical commission for the upcoming IT.
Yeah.
I will be in Parliament on Thursday, and will be
so you are going
about
to,
some
you
of
are
those
going to
aspects.
what Parliament? You're going to the Bundestag?
Yeah.
So that is true. That we are currently, we have an ethical commission on for medicine and everything, but we do not have such similar for IT. But it could be a step forward when we bring the main players together just to start this discussion, or let's say to find the right questions we need to discuss, right? Jörg wanted to interrupt us.
I mean, just adding, I think we have the discussion already, and I find that a very healthy discussion already. I became aware of that like 5 or 6 years ago about value judgment in algorithms and algorithm ethics. And I see that happen in most of the conferences now. There is scientific papers published. So I think we are right on.
Science is advanced always, and there's also discussion in the community. I think there's also starting discussion in politics, but
we try hard to do it.
Not come together yet.
Absolutely. I think it's early, but I
Yeah.
see the right route.
But the discussion technically, maybe we are just starting. But you touched the topic privacy protection. The discussion is much going on, because we have all these examples of breaking and leaks and secret services. I know we got a question yesterday in for Ina, and I would like to get this question in. Maybe we can use this example. It was a very impressive example. I wasn't aware about this to discuss this topic of privacy protection.
Yeah, we received a mail from Monica P. Thank you for that. And she talks about an example about the Samsung Smart TV, and it has a privacy data policy containing 46 pages, she says, which logs where, when, and how, and for how long you use the TV. And all data will be captured, and she says that it even ignores the do not track requests, and even spoken words, including personal or sensitive information, will be captured and transmitted. So her question is it not almost too late to implement ethical standards in an IoT world? And how can we ensure that these standards can be enforced?
Yeah.
Well, I believe...
If this example is true, then we have a real problem already, right?
No, it's true, but so to say, we have a challenge, I'd say. So it's never too late to do things better. There has been another study on by the Konrad Adenauer Association on the question if people would be ready to provide their data for big data analytics, and there is a quite diverse picture. Most of all, it is about the trust. There are other studies that, for example, if you would only read all the regulations of a software or app of the most important sites like Facebook, Amazon, and things like that, it would take you quite a couple of years to go through, and without understanding, because it's way too complicated. So on the one hand side, it's a technology, and that can be developed as the society needs, and you have to have the processes and regulation, and it only can go together. You cannot put it only on the one hand side, but so to say, we need to consider the whole ecosystem.
Well, okay, as I have here a scientist and I have a technical guy, I would like to, sorry to put some water in your wine, you know. If this Secret Service guy, Cullen, or what was his name, is stating maybe we are using IoT to spy on you, and we have all these examples. Is the reaction, I can fully understand the reaction that the people, the normal people, are not really, let's say, overwhelmed by the possible improvement of their life. They're just staying skeptic and not using it, because there is a trust, there is a lack on trust. Because I always have a feeling when I'm using all of these nice devices, also I saw here at the South by, what are the data someone else can use it? Is it something? Is it an information someone else can also use it for something? I'm not overseeing that, and that is something I have now implemented in my head, and I feel not very comfortable anymore.
So once again, I recommend this study on big data, because it shows a quite diverse picture. There are young people trusting differently than older people.
Can we publish these
yes, I can
on our website?
Sure, I will
okay.
provide the link to that.
We will put the link on our website, so you can read this statistic. This is what was it from Bosch, or what was it? Konrad Adenauer Stiftung. We have some data.
I'm sorry.
Whatever, you will see it there. Also a nice company collecting a lot of data, but anyway.
And there are differences between Germans, Austrians, South Europeans. Yes, definitely, and that's interesting because.
Could you give me just? I would guess that the Germans are more skeptic than the US people, right?
It looked into Europe, but they are more skeptic than the Italians, for example, or the Spanish people.
Okay. Yeah. So what is the reason for that? Is it also said there? No.
Well, sorry to say, I feel myself that we overestimate the privacy issue, because, well, whoever would be interested which movies I'm watching on TV. Yes, there is an issue, but I wouldn't overestimate. So the way that we would regulate that this data can only be used in aggregated form, it cannot get down to the person itself.
Don't start this shitstorm now, just send us your comments. Ina's thesis is that Germany is overestimating privacy. High five down for ISQI. what a message sent out by South by Southwest. I mean, brings us. Wow, I'm a little bit surprised about it. But maybe in some of the we had elections last Sunday, and maybe in Sachsen-Anhalt it would be interesting to control a little bit more what they are watching, right, regarding the outcome of the elections. That's another reason for shitstorm now. Anyway, forget about this. Was just a joke, a bad joke. I guess we can summarize a bit that it's worth to start a discussion. We have different opinion on that because of this different perspective. I wouldn't say that we are overestimating privacy. We should start to explain to people what's going on, because most of the people have no idea what's going on there currently, what they are doing with their data and their information, and then if they're knowing, then they can decide. I'm fine with that, or if I'm overestimating that. But anyway, we need the idea to have a commission or a council or whatever, or a round table in the beginning, to start in public, transparent this discussion would be something perfect. Yes, we talked about Markus Beckedahl. These guys did a tremendous good job with all these examples there uncovered, but it was also then not creating really trust, these examples, because it's again and again a drop into the water that there is something going wrong. We are not really knowing what's going on there. That's I guess is the main topic. Yeah. We don't know if you agree. You are much more.
But
technical
I mean,
stuff.
Here in South by we had several, I would say, good discussions on policy. So there were congressmen on stage with industry lobbyists, with civil rights activists discussing. And what I learned is that there is a very nuanced view on these topics here. So, for example, there's really strong advocacy in Congress by many, and it's not tied to one party. For example, to get something, so get rules for the end user license agreements that would be as easy to understand as, and that was a quote by a Republican congressman actually, as easy to understand as Creative Commons license. So you would have just very easy icons, very easy short natural language sentences that would say what's with the data and what's behind these. So open the black box in a way without really opening all your business secrets as a manufacturer.
Yeah.
And I think, I mean, again, of course we are not done yet. It's quite some way to go still. But in the democracies, at least, we see this discussion going on in a good way, I would say. Also in Germany, we have, if I compare what we have now in the discussion with 5 years ago, it tremendously improved, and consciousness is now there by many policymakers.
But that is nice to have this discussion. Yeah? But if the outcome is, for example, that Gesche Just is celebrating the decision by Facebook that they are controlling themselves, I'm not really feel comfortable on this, because I do not want to have a private company is changing the algorithm, and then you have a tendency, you can put a tendency on it. I mean, to give you an example, today, for example, they are supporting this party, and next time they are supporting another movement just by changing the algorithm.
Yeah, exactly.
We call it self-control.
Yeah, of course we have to address it, but that's a totally different thing.
No, but that is something what the people calling open discussion, that they are working on a solution.
No. Now we are touching a very interesting field. Is what's the realm of control that we can maintain in Germany or in Europe or in any national state towards these transnational corporations?
Yeah.
And that's a different question.
They are working under ethic rules, because that's the main problem. What we would say, for example, we have this problem that for example, naked women are unethical, and that's why they get blocked on Facebook. And let's say these radical hate, they are not blocked because they are not. That's a different culture background, and I do not see how we can do it on a global level, because all these international different cultures and so on. Also within Germany, we have these totally different. What is in Bremen acceptable is in Munich, for example, censored. I don't know, but probably I can imagine this that way. That is a little bit a problem. Also the discussion should be discussed, I think, how we could solve this.
There is a call from the Ministry of Research for a German Institute on Internet and Society. And from Berlin we proposed there exactly this command and control and how to have the people getting back their control over the things they're doing in IT, in the Internet, so with their data and so on and so forth.
Okay, so my overview is, my impression is that we have a lot of initiatives and a lot of so-called, let's say, solution findings, and the discussion on different levels is starting, but we need to combine it a little bit and to structure it and also to get involved all parties. But I see we have a question from outside.
No question,
is these shitstorms going on already?
There's no question, but I think there will be some discussions today on Twitter because it already starts. Some quotes of you have already been posted.
Okay. So yeah, we need your opinion on that. Do more. Yeah. Privacy is overestimated in Germany. HIGHFIVE_ASQI. It's worth to discuss. We started with the topic IoT, and I would like again to our guest Alison wait, because she is running a nice conference very soon, and I learned that also this topic, what we touched already, is part of this conference, right? Good morning, Alison. Nice to have you here again. Alison is
replacing the flamingo.
Alison is also one of, as I told you, Alison is one of our special guests here at our house, HIGHFIVE as well. And if you want to watch the interview we did, it's on our website, highfive.isqi.org. But Alison, tell us about a bit more about your IoT conference.
Sure, absolutely. And if you're a woman in testing, from the sounds of this, and I've heard this before, privacy and security are two really hot topics that are coming up, and two things that you should learn if you're in testing. It's going to be a big, huge business, I think, in the future.
Yeah. When is the conference?
The conference is April 17 through 22. It's in San Diego, California, so it's a beautiful destination. It's a great conference. It's on mobile dev and test, and IoT dev and test, and if you're in testing or if you're in development, there's a lot to learn. There's a lot of complications we were talking about before, sensors, embedded systems, connectivity, software, everything's running together. It causes software developers and software testers a lot of heartache and a lot of new complexities, and there's a lot to learn. So we have a lot of great topics. We have Jason Arbon, who's an expert on mobile testing, doing a terrific talk called Mobile and IoT Win, Now What? Like, now that we know that this is here and it's not going away, how do we deal with this as a company, as an enterprise? And then we also have a guy called Kevin Rowling who started a company called Emberlight. And Emberlight is it goes to any light bulb and makes any light bulb smart. And so he's going to talk about first blood in the water, because what his company's done for the last year is develop a product in the IoT market, and so he's talking about the challenges and the failures and where he was successful and where they failed, so you get an inside scoop about what went right and what went wrong and how you can do better and what you learn from his experience, basically.
Perfect to see. So the discussion is going on with the professionals in San Diego. Ina is taking this discussion to our parliament, and best regards to all the politicians there.
Well, I only see some.
I only see some, but anyway, next time maybe some of them, they should still support, maybe we can finish by this. Germany should stay to support the German delegation come to South by, because the German delegation is supported by the Ministry of Economics, and we hope that also in the future next year they are supporting us here to coming, because it's worth to do it. And thank you so far. Thanks, Jörg, for coming again.
Again, thanks for having me here.
Yeah,
appreciate it.
And we are totally running out of time anyway, so thank you both for the ladies, women in test, and women in IT. And if you would like to proceed with the discussion, HIGHFIVE_ISQI, you can send us your comments. Tomorrow at 9 we have a full-packed program, as I said, with 3 different companies telling us what is their idea about. Yes, until then we will enjoy here the next day. We will go into the trade show. We have a Brandenburg barbecue here at night in the house. Sorry, only by invitation, and all the invitations get out. So, best regards from Austin, Texas. Best regards again to Germany, to everywhere, wherever you are, and best regards to Singapore.
Exactly.
Stay tuned. Bye.
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 Bye.